All right, Master Brokers, good evening. Welcome to our house, Wynwood, and our third major event of the year, brought to you by our friends at City National Bank. Hey, I have a question. Show of hands, who was at the Real Deal today and yesterday? Let me see, show of hands. Oh, very good, very good. I saw some of you today. Listen, hey, we love the Real Deal. We love getting that discount last week. Who took advantage of the 25% discount last week? Very good. And we love having that other major business event right up the street as well. But with all due respect to the Real Deal Forum, and with all due respect to the American Business Forum, there's this little thing called the Master Brokers Forum, baby. Been here for 32 years. And listen, they put on amazing panels, but I gotta tell you something. This is gonna be the most amazing hour of your week. This is gonna be the hour that's gonna be the most fun of your week, the most impactful, useful, and we thank you all for being here. 2 housekeeping notes, real quick. Has everybody seen the beautiful new Master Brokers Forum logo? I know I have. I see it on your advertisements. I see it on your social media already. I see it on your email signatures. So excellent work. Keep it going. Make sure you just check the guidelines to make sure you are using the logo correctly. Item number 2, and oh my, I am so proud of you guys. I am so proud of you. We sent out that notice about updating your profile on the Master Broker website, and within a day, we had new photos, we had correct contact information. So good, so good. Keep it going as well. Let's keep that information current so we don't lose track of you. We have a lot to get to. Let's get it going with the chair of the Miami Master Brokers Forum. Please welcome Ileana Abella.
You're getting so good.
That was great.
I gotta tell you, he's come a long way, baby. He's getting better and better every day. Good evening, everyone. So great to see you all here tonight. Thank you, Jason, as usual. And thank you, everyone from City National. Who's here tonight from City? Rich Campanella, Ben, and they didn't tell me your name. So sorry. I thought I'd carry my voices very loud. So thank you so much for making tonight possible, and for being such an incredible partner to our organization. So as Master Brokers, we understand the partnerships are at the core of what we do. Without the partners in this room, half of the deals in this town would not get done. We know that we've gone through a very challenging year and market, but it makes it so much easier when you are working with a master broker. Isn't that the truth? And it's every time that you go for a listing, when you go to show a listing or wherever you go, and you see that the person on the other side is a master broker, it's such a relief. So as we look beyond Miami, we find even more fabulous partners in Broward. I'm looking at some of them over there. Broward and Palm Beach from our Gold Coast Master Brokers. I know Carolyn couldn't be here tonight. I wanted to recognize her, but I'm going to recognize the ones that are here tonight. So as I call your name, please stand up so our Miami members can see who you are. So we have Caroline Carrera. Is she here? Hi, Caroline. Karen Baker. Hi. Marissa DeLench. Did I pronounce that right? Rose Sklar, the one and only. And his lovely husband. Her lovely, oh, there he is. Oh, you don't even sit together. So let's give our sister chapter a round of applause. They are celebrating their 20th anniversary. So this is a big milestone. And if Gold Coast is our sister chapter, it appears we have a cousin chapter now. We just discovered that not too long ago in New York City. A place, let's applause for that. Applause. This is a place Miami loves because We love to go there, travel, go shopping, meet friends, go to dinner, right? So this is a mutual beneficial friendship. And when we were in New York, we were talking about this and how important it is to have partners in that city. And it's a mutual benefit for all of us. You know, we have people that have moved to New York or Connecticut or Westchester, and you have people moving to South Florida. So we need to, establish those friendships. And so tonight, the New York Residential Agent Continuum is a long name, known as NYRAC for short, was founded in 2018 on the same principles and standards that the MBF has upheld for almost 3 decades. They have built an incredible group into an industry powerhouse, for real. 250 members strong. In September, we were honored to be part of an event that MBF and NYRAC put together. It was a presentation focusing on opportunities for their members to do business here in Miami and in South Florida, led by our own Alicia. I'm so happy you're here. She almost killed me this week when she said she wasn't coming. Alicia Cervera La Madrid, and 12 of us, some of us are here tonight. Myself, Jason, Carolyn, Lindsay Lamchick, Jesse Otley, Paola Garcia Carrillo, Mitzi Mitchell Burns, and Dean and Rose, and other members from the Gold Coast took part of this beautiful presentation. It felt more like a family reunion. It wasn't like a stuffy, meeting. But tonight, we're going to return the favor, shining a spotlight on the unique opportunities we have to do business in the city that never sleeps. I love that. I like that. Right? my husband's favorite song. Let's give a real warm master brokers welcome to the special visitors from New York, and I'm going to mention some names now. As I say your name, please stand up and be recognized. Jonah Kaplan. Jonah, is he here? I don't know if he got, maybe he stayed at the Real Deal. Stephen Bailey. Joe Hamill. Joe's here. Hi, Joe. Aleka Nicolati. I don't know if she's here. Eric Solinger. NYRAC President Jason Haber. And the founder of NYRAC, this girl really has guts. That's what I can say. Heather Domi. You'll be thrilled to hear from her in a few minutes. My friends, it's hard to believe that it has been 3 years, right? That we've established our working relationship with City National Bank. And in that short time, we've developed a strong relationship with Rich Campanella especially, and his team across all the opportunities for mortgage and banking. All I can say is from personal experience, the quality of service of City National in general, but of Rich, especially in Ben, it's the most, I cannot even express it, but he gets things done. I'm just gonna say, you know how hard it is to sell a property, and then you get to close, you can never close because a person doesn't, well, he gets it closed, and that's all I can say. So tonight, as I look around the room, I know that there's people that have closed deals with him, and we want to bring him because he's going to be talking about all the opportunities, all the programs, and he's going to share with us. So Rich, would you come over? So let's pay attention to Rich.
Thank you, Ileana. So what I'm going to first do is introduce our Executive President for Residential, Ricardo Garbati. Has over 20 years experience working with ultra net worth individuals, their families, and institutional clients, including law firms, CPA firms, and other professional services, as well as entrepreneurs and their businesses. Before joining City National Bank Private Banking in 2013, he served as senior private banker at Gibraltar Bank from 2004 to 2013. Currently, Ricardo leads the private banking division and residential division. In addition to his professional achievements, Ricardo is passionate about community service and serves on the boards of Miami Jewish Health and the Zoo Miami Foundation. He's a Miami native. He attended Westminster Christian and later graduated from the University of Florida. Ricardo, come on up.
Thank you, Rich. It's an absolute honor to be here. Thank you. And I know I'm standing in the way of a great conversation that I'm sure is going to be enlightening to everybody, but I can't wait personally to hear from you guys as experts in this marketplace. So just 30 seconds. For us, it's an absolute privilege to work with folks like you. We understand that the residential market and to be in your presence and to work with your clients is extraordinary for us. So not only is it an honor to be with you, but to be your partners, to be your trusted partners. As you mentioned, Rich gets the job done. And so from City National Bank's perspective, it's our job to understand. This isn't a transaction, it's a relationship. Your clients put the trust in you. They want to make sure that you put them in the right hands to make some of the most important and pivotal decisions of that acquisition of a property, whether it's a condo, whether it's a home. It needs to close on time. And sometimes those moments can be stressful. So Rich does an exceptional job, as does the team. And City National makes sure that we focus on understanding the neighborhoods, understanding the values, understanding who's buying and who's selling, so we can make sure that we provide you guys with an exceptional service. And you can feel free and comfortable to make those referral sources. I think the conversation goes beyond a little bit of that as to what's happening in the marketplace today. We have seen transactions increase in volume. We've seen them increase in dollar amounts. We've seen price per square foot hit $3,500, $4,000. We've seen homes and land lots go for $20 million to over $100 million. Quite honestly, that trust, that guidance comes from those folks in this room. So for us, we continue, and we hope, if we haven't had an opportunity to work with you yet, that we will soon. So again, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this time. And we hope to, and I know I personally hope to learn a lot more from the speakers today. So thank you.
And no, you don't get off that easy. You got to listen to me for a little bit. So what a market it's been, what a year it's been. I've been doing it 35 years, and maybe 2008 comes close. It's between the buyers and sellers, what kind of market is it? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? The economic uncertainty constantly. Government shutdown, throw that in at the end of it. Rates going up, are they going down? Which way are they going? Challenges create opportunities, and it's been, I love this kind of market. And I know, looking around the room, I know the professional you guys are, that anybody can do it in a hot market, but when it's this type of market, only true professionals can actually make it happen. What I want to get, again, I worked for a big bank for 30 years. I moved to this bank because of this kind of market, what they offer. We are a bank that we're looking for an opportunity to work with your clients. We're looking for a relationship. We're not just going to do a deal just to do a deal. But if there's a relationship there, we're going to make it happen for you. It's not a little box and they got to fit in here. I was with Wells. I get so many referrals from Wells with the stuff we can do here. We look at the entire relationship, not just what transaction it is. We look at the whole thing, and it opens up a lot of opportunities. We close a lot more deals because of that. And like we're local. Our president lives here. Ricardo lives here. They all grew up here. They know the market. My underwriters know the market. When we have a question on something, it's not, okay, tell me about the building. They actually go. Some of these condo buildings, they'll go to the condo building and walk the building and say, yeah, we like this building. They'll meet with your client. I had a $10 million transaction about to happen. I brought the client in. I talked to the client. Guess what? Ricardo went and met with that client for lunch to try to help me close that deal. He made that client feel like unfortunately, the deal did not go through because of inspections, but that client will come back to us because he feels comfortable, he's moving his relationships over. That's what a local lender will do for you. I'm going to tell you a little bit of our products and just what we offer. We do the regular conventional FHA, VA. The regular conventional FHA, VA. We have no overlays on those type of products. We sell directly to Fannie and Freddie. We don't have, we add on this, we add on that. Whatever comes back on the DU is all we use. It's a great, it's such a, I can look at the DU approval and tell you exactly what you need and know that deal's going to go through. Our City Smart loans. We have a first-time home buyer loan. Ben specializes in these loans. If your customer, and call us on it, but it's a lower rate, no mortgage insurance, 97% financing, and we do condos. We don't take the Fannie Mae condo list. We'll do condos for that. There are income limits on it, but give us a call on that type of product. We've got incredible deals for you on that. The rate on that today is like 5.75, 30-year fixed, and no mortgage insurance, and we give you $5,000 towards closing cost. Our jumbo and super jumbo, as Ricardo spoke about, we will do those big loans for you. We love doing those big loans. I just closed a $63 million loan locally. We love those type of loans. We look at the client. We're more interested in what that client's going to offer. What can we do for that client all around, not just that transaction. And again, we have wealth bankers that actually work with these clients and actually make them feel like they're it. That we're not a private bank, but we deal with those type of clientele. That's what we deal with. Our CPA, our attorney, and our doctor loans. We will go up to our doctor loans, 100% financing, up to $3 million. It's maybe 15% down. No mortgage insurance, incredible rates. 2 months of reserves is all we require. We can do our CPA and attorney loans, 97% financing for those clients. Again, no bank paid mortgage insurance. They don't pay the mortgage insurance, they get the same rates. Foreign national loans, we have great foreign national loans, 30% down. If they have liquidity, we base it on their liquidity. If they're from Canada, from the UK or Chile, we treat them like US citizens. We give them the same rates and the same programs as a US citizen gets. Construction loans, bridge loans. If your customer can't sell their house right away, it's taking longer to sell these houses, we'll do a bridge loan for them. Give them up to 80% financing on that house. It's a 2-year balloon, interest only. It's a great way they can do whatever they want with that money. Is the house listed? Great. We love it to be listed. We want it to be gone in that time. So if you got that house not moving, it's a great way to do things. Construction loans and lot loans, we do both. We do up to, construction loans are getting bigger and bigger. We understand that market. We're very good at it. We've got local appraisers that do it. If you have somebody who's looking for a construction loan, or if you want to sell that lot, we'll do that lot for you too. Condos, one of the biggest things right now is the problems a lot of people are having in condos. Again, we do Fannie Mae condos, but we also we have our own portfolio that we can do condos on. I'm not going to tell you we'll do every condo, but we will look at the client also. That is what we base a lot of stuff on. So you have one of those buildings that you can't lend in, let us take a look at the client you're putting in there and see if we can make an exception and put it on our portfolio. We offer, on top of everything else, we also wholesale. We have 20 wholesalers we wholesale. We do DSCR loans, bank statement loans, whatever type of loan out there, we have access to it. We do it through our bank, we underwrite it, and we sell it directly to those wholesalers. My last loan that I love is our liquidity loan. If you've got a client who has a lot of money but does not show income, we can do it based on our liquidity. Not an asset allocation, but if they have 2 times the assets in the bank, that's all we base it on. We get 1 year's tax return. We don't care what that return says. I've got one I'm doing that has negative $500,000 on his return right now. They've got 2 times the assets in the bank. We do that loan based on that. We're one of the only companies. That's the reason I really joined this bank, because I was giving so much business over to them, and I said I might as well go over there. So I just want to thank you guys again for allowing us to be part of you guys and be able to help you guys with anything you need. If you need us, call us. We're available 24/7. I answer my text, my phone. Whatever you need anything, I'll get right back to you. And thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Rich. Thank you, Ricardo, Joe, Ben, everybody from City National. We couldn't do the things we do without your support. We really do appreciate it. Amazing. Just one more. I want to mention one more person from our Gold Coast chapter who made it all the way down here. Evie Fortney, thank you also for coming from the Gold Coast chapter. We do appreciate it as well. So in just a minute, we're going to explore the fantastic opportunities that you as master brokers will have to do business in New York. During what appears to be a pivotal time, let's just say, in its long history. So for some of you, this might be old hat. You're very familiar with it. For some of you, it might be the first time you are even considering it. But if that's the case, as with any new adventure, it's important to know the rules and the guidelines and the laws so that you don't get, hurt or lost or arrested or sued or indicted, all avoidable things. So here to help us with that, we welcome back to the Master Brokers Forum, Michael Todd, General Counsel of GFO Investments, a national developer of more than 200 buildings across the U.S., including here in Miami and in New York. They are the parent company of Crescent Seas. Yes, if Michael looks familiar, it's because he was on the panel at our May event hosted by Crescent Seas. So prior to joining GFO, he served for 9 years as the Chief Legal Officer of a national consumer brand and restaurant company with more than 350 locations across 30 states. He received his JD cum laude right up the street from the University of Miami School of Law, and his undergraduate degree, bachelor's degree with honors from Brown University. But now check this out. This is the coolest thing about Michael. Michael is a multiple-time Texas state champion in road cycle racing, and he still rides his bike every day. So, here to help us stay in our lane when it comes to selling real estate across state lines, please welcome Michael Todd.
Hi. Thank you very much. The cycling thing is just a way to stay like a young kid for the rest of my life, so that's why I do it. Thank you for having me. It's truly a privilege to be with a whole bunch of experts in real estate, and great to collaborate with you all. Miami's in exciting times right now. Globally, it's one of the top 1, 2, or 3 places for the next 20 years for development of condos and buildings. It's amazing. Right up there with Singapore, Dubai, other places that are hot. A lot of the money is foreign money, continues to flow massively. It's almost like monopoly money. Some of our projects, it feels like, I'm convinced that some of the actual purchasers actually think it's monopoly money because they're just flowing it in so regularly. But anyway, I have 5 minutes. I'll zip through this. I've got some very detailed slides. You can look at them on your own time later, and I'll cover the takeaways at a high level, and otherwise leave the details for you all to look at later. So sit back and try to treat this like your favorite finale of a Netflix series, and hopefully you'll have a few takeaways that help you both stay out of the legal tripwires and earn more money on commissions. So the first slide, please. So at a high level, what are we going to cover? We're going to cover condo registration process, and then we'll cover some best practices for the New York and Florida brokerage partnership train, including kind of can-dos and what to avoid, and we'll focus at the end on some advertising rules and also kind of what some of the registration requirements are, including how to maximize your ability to create partnerships with New York, Miami brokerage teams working together. Next slide. So just at a high level, how do the Florida and New York condo registration requirements compare to each other? In a lot of ways, they're very similar. Again, you can go through the slide on your own. Most of them are either identical or very similar. There's a couple things to point out that are different. In Florida, we have the structural integrity reserve study requirement, and also The milestone summary that you've got to provide, those are 2 additional documents that are very detailed, the milestone studies for 30-year-old buildings, and those are required as part of the condo documents submissions to the state. Next slide. So what are the Florida condo requirements for selling a New York condo in Florida? So if you were a New York developer and you have a new New York condo, or you have a condo for resale up there, what do you need to do to market it and sell it amongst you all and have you all sell it? First, they've got to register with the state, right, and form a online account and set that up. They've got to submit the same documents that they did in New York to register it in New York to begin with, which is all the condo docs, the articles, bylaws, the declaration, all the different FAQs, the site plans, everything. And then, importantly, there's, it takes, in Florida, when they register, they're going to submit all those documents. It's going to take a couple of weeks, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks for the state typically to process that, assuming you've put in the application in complete form. And then there's some nominal costs in Florida, which are filing costs, and you'll see at the bottom of the chart. So next slide. So what are some of the key Florida laws applicable to condo sales for a New York broker that might be considering selling in Florida? So first of all, you can only do referrals in Florida unless you have a Florida license. So that means you cannot sell, negotiate contracts, close deals. You actually have to work through a Florida broker who's licensed to do that. And so that's an important tripwire to try to avoid. The marketing and advertising restrictions, we'll talk about it in a bit, but the New York broker cannot advertise or promote real estate in Florida unless the advertising is done in coordination and under the supervision of a Florida broker. So that's one that seems to get ignored here and there. A couple of other details about Florida that are different than New York. Well, the deposit structure in Florida is different. In New York, all the deposits under a purchase agreement need to be held in escrow and not applied to the development project. In Florida, it's a little more gamey, right? You can use, after the first 10%, you can apply the deposit to fund the development project. And so both of them also have the 15-day right to cancel. And that's kind of a standard rescissionary right that they get. So the next slide. So what are the key tips for advertising in Florida? First, as you know, you got to have accurate information, geographical location, the city, the area, all that. You also have to list the licensed brokerage firm's name, and that name has to match up with the registration online, right? And if it's not a match, then they could call you for a violation. And then also there needs to be a clear source attribution, meaning like if the data is provided by the Miami MLS, you've got to cite that as well. What are the things to avoid? Obviously avoid misleading claims, make sure that you have clear disclosure, and including, the brokerage firm name needs to be right next to the contact information so that it's clear that it's a professionally licensed brokerage firm that's advertising it. And then, of course, the fair housing laws apply, which most people know what those are. No racial or discriminatory practices, all the usual things. Plus, the only difference is there's the protection for familial status, so you cannot list things like great for single entrepreneurs or young professionals, right? I mean, that would be a violation of the fair housing laws. So you have to be careful about that tripwire. The next slide. So what are the key takeaways overall for the New York-Florida partnership train? And what can you do and what don't you want? What do you want to avoid? So First, when you sign up to, if a New York broker collaborates and signs up to a partnership, they can refer the clients to the Florida licensed broker, as I already talked about, as long as you have a New York license. The referral fee cannot be paid directly to the New York broker at closing. It has to be paid through the Florida broker, and that's important, not to skip that step and just go ahead and separate out those payments. And then lastly, you should always enter into a written co-broker agreement. Most big firms like a Compass or a Severa probably have their own forms. If you need a form, I can provide you one. My email is on the last slide, and I'll send you one. And that just clarifies what the compensation arrangements you'll have between your New York, Florida broker. What you need to avoid is what I talked about earlier, which is if you're a New York broker selling in Florida, you cannot show the property by yourself. So sure, you can bring your client down from New York, hold their hand, show them the condo unit with the Florida broker there. You cannot negotiate it by yourself. You can listen in on the calls and help your client, but your Florida broker needs to do all that, right, and sign up the contract and get it closed. And then you cannot advertise it independently from the Florida broker, which I already mentioned. And so I guess my 5 minutes is kind of run its course. Certainly go out and close. It's a hot market still, even though there may be some bumps along the road for the next year or two. It'll go up and down, but long term, Miami's going to continue to be hot, and I'm sure New York will have its moments as well. So close and do it legally, lucratively, hopefully without lawyers. And if you ever get a little bit unsure about some issue, ask yourself this one key question: would you still do what you were planning to do if a lawyer was looking over your shoulder watching your every move? If the answer to that question is no, then you need to call your counsel. So thank you.
Michael, thank you very much. We appreciate your time and expertise. And those were excellent slides, as are the slides that are to come. Maggie asked me a great question. Thank you, Maggie. Yes, everyone, for every Master Broker event we ever do, you will be emailed the slides, I promise. Now, you have to actually open the email and click the link. But yes, every Master Broker event, we will send you the slides that are presented. So before Heather gives us her keynote presentation, well, let's address the hot topic of the week, the mayoral election in New York City, from someone who has been deeply involved in it for the past several months. Master Brokers, I want you to meet Jason Haber. Jason is a New Yorker, the president of NYRAC, and an agent with Compass. While splitting his time between his home in South Florida and his business in New York, Jason also leads the American Real Estate Association, a new national trade group that he has co-founded that already has 10,000 plus members. And I imagine we'll be devoting a future Master Brokers Forum to discussing that and what it means. Jason, come on over. Jason, you have been active in New York City government, politics, academia for more than 20 years. You have been one of the most aggressive, let's say, voices against the mayor-elect candidacy, both on local TV, cable TV, and behind the scenes on political action committees. So can you kind of distill for 5 minutes what you think the outcome means both for New York and for Miami?
Sure. How has your week been so far? Probably better than mine. Are there any New York transplants in here? Yeah. All right, where from? All right, shout it out. Well, Manhattan, great. We could have used you this week. Thanks so much. Okay, wait, I want to tell you a story before I start, now that the election's over. So about a week ago, I was with Governor Cuomo, or Andrew Cuomo, and I'm like, there was this meeting, and like we're trying to get a lot of the Manhattan vote out because we knew that Queens was going to be like this tsunami for Mamdani, right? Like all these young people, I should have thought of that a week ago. All these like young people who never voted before, who weren't even registered to vote. 150,000 of them ended up voting, which is almost the difference between our vote and his. So We needed Manhattan votes, particularly on the Upper West Side. Are there any Upper West Side transplants in here? That's good, because I would have been annoyed, because we really needed your vote. But Andrew Cuomo knew that we needed a really, really big turnout from the Upper West Side, and he knew that that was like the base of my political work. So he sees me at the meeting, and as I'm trying to leave, I hear this voice, and I'm walking out, and I hear, "Jason, come back." Turn around. "Yes, Governor. We need to talk." "Yes, Governor." He goes, "I need you to do me a favor right now." I said, "What is it?" He said, "I need you to call," I won't say the name of the official, one of the highest ranking officials in New York who had not endorsed. "I need you to call so-and-so. I need you to text him, and I need you to tell him that he was a mean son of a bitch to me in the primary, but I love him. Now, I'm Italian, so I can say I love him, but I love him. You tell him that." I said, "Yes, Governor." He goes, "Take out your phone. Jason, take out your..." If Governor Cuomo tells you to do something, you do it. "Take out my phone." He goes, "We're going to take a picture. We're going to take a picture together, and you're going to text it to him right now. And you're going to say you were a mean SOB to me, but I love him." Okay, take the photo. The next day, I get a phone call from this elected official, and I miss it because I was at another event. And then another, and then another. Anyway, I call him back, and he goes, "What the hell is Andrew Cuomo texting me a photo of you and him together, saying I'm with your guy, and he should have told you that I love you." This is a true story. And just so you know, I'm not making this up. I actually took the photo, and I sent it, and I'll show it to Heather just so you can confirm it. It literally... It literally happened. Anyway, we were desperate for votes on the Upper West Side. We did pretty well there, not enough. When all's said and done, we'll lose the election by 150,000, 200,000 votes out of about 2.2 million cast. So, Zohran Mamdani received over 1 million votes. It's just an astonishing amount of votes. It's more than any candidate in New York City has received running for mayor since John Lindsay ran for mayor. In 65 was his first election, but he did run in 69, and then the snowstorm came, and that was that. So the thing is, it was so many votes that in 2021, 1.1 million people voted. In 25 for mayor, 1.1 million people voted for him, just to give you that context. So to the extent that one can declare a mandate, a lot of folks did vote for him. The question now is what comes next, right? Like, what can he do? What can't he do? Obviously, when you're the mayor of a city like New York and you have 400,000 employees in the public sector, it's an enormously powerful position. And there are things you can control, like schools and the police department. I mean, the school system is so big in New York, not many people know this, but 1 out of every 335 Americans anywhere in the country is a student in the New York City public school system. Like, think about that. If all the New York City kids dropped in Miami-Dade County, the county would grow by 1/3. Like, it's an enormous system with huge implications. He does control that as mayor. But there's a lot he doesn't control. What he doesn't control is taxation. So in New York City, the mayor does not have the ability to raise taxes, either corporate taxes. He's proposed a 58% increase in corporate taxes. He's proposed an increase in personal income taxes to pay for free stuff, as you know. Free buses, I take the bus all the time. I love the bus, but free buses are going to have obvious problems. To pay for social programs that he's proposed. The big one, I'm sure you're familiar with, the freeze the rent plan. Now, if you're in New York City real estate, if you're a rent-stabilized apartment, this sounds great because it's going to freeze your rent. But the problem is for us in the real estate community and also in the real world, there are costs that don't get frozen. And what happens is buildings fall into disrepair. And the rent-stabilized housing stock in New York is already falling in disrepair. And when buildings fall into disrepair, what happens? There's less upkeep, there's less maintenance, ergo, there are less units available for rent, which only drives up unaffordability in the city. And in fact, I've been very vocal on television talking about this. I will make a bet that if we're here 1 year from tonight, that the rentals in New York will be higher than they are tonight. In fact, in 2 years from now, they'll be even higher because when you constrain supply, it's just, I took 8th grade economics. Not everyone did, I don't know. But like when you constrain supply and demand is even or up, you're going to have higher and higher rents. So we believe the city will become more unaffordable for the very people that he's trying to help on his proposals. But he does need the governor for anything related to tax, anything related to government working with Albany. Now the challenge is, and this is what you'll watch, this will be very interesting, similar to your legislative calendar in Florida, in New York, the legislature convenes in January and the budget's due on April 1st. So between January and April 1st is when, it's coming up, is when if he's going to get a tax increase through, it will happen then. The governor has said no. Governor Hochul has said she will absolutely not accept a tax increase. But this is politics in New York, and keep in mind, Governor Hochul has her own primary in June. So right now there is going to be max pressure on the governor, because if she doesn't go along with what the mayor wants, who just got 1 million votes, she may face a primary. So there's a lot of political intrigue we'll have to watch, but one thing I want to make clear, despite the enormous powers that a mayor has, there is no authority to do things that he talked about on the campaign trail without other support from our capital in Albany. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out. You know, campaigning is in poetry and you govern in prose, and sometimes they are very, very different things. So I would say to the naysayers, you know, Mamdani will not be the Realtor of the Year in 2025 for Miami. And our job in New York right now is to ensure that he is not the Realtor of the Year in 2026 or 2027. Because that fight is now starting, but it's not a fait accompli by far. It's up to the citizenry of New York. At NYRAC, we're working on this. We'll be very involved in the fight in New York, and our federal trade group will also be involved with that fight as well. So it's up to all of us in New York to be a part of that and to shape that future so that he is not the Realtor of the Year down here. And that's why we stay politically involved and politically engaged wherever we are. And there are all these fights around the country. Like, we talked a lot about affordability in New York. Affordability is not a New York issue. Like, you know that here, right? Like, affordability is a Miami issue. It's a Los Angeles issue. By the way, I'll give you two examples of where affordability was solved this year. One is Austin, and one is New Rochelle, New York. Anyone from New Rochelle? Sometimes we get New Rochelle people. Not tonight. Both cities did something amazing. They built housing. And guess what happened? Look at Austin. The rents dropped by 20% this year. 20%. Same with New Rochelle. It just proves if you build it, people will rent it. And if you build it more, you'll be able to provide for affordability. Like, the facts speak for themselves. And so we'll be traveling around the country talking about affordability and how to solve the affordability crisis around the country, because we think at our organization, the American Real Estate Association, at NYRAC, that we have solutions that are proven that work, not just free shit that sounds good. So that's what we'll be working on. And stay tuned for what's next in New York. I'm happy to take any questions that you have, too, before we get to the next program. Yeah.
So you were talking about the governor. What are your thoughts of the rumors of AOC running?
For governor?
Yeah.
No, I think she'll run for the Senate, not governor, would be my guess. I think Chuck Schumer won't run for re-election, and she'll run for the Senate, would be my guess.
Because I heard that rumor.
I do not believe she would run for governor, because if she ran for governor, she would have to give up her congressional seat to do so, because it's the same year. So I don't think she would do that. But you never know. Anyone else? Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Let's get to the program.
All right, thank you, Jason. And since you have so nicely set the table for Heather's presentation, can I ask you and Andres to help set up just three chairs here real quick so we can have our conversation led by NYRAC founder Heather Domi, who I'm going to introduce now. Excited to do it. Heather Domi is a highly accomplished real estate professional with more than 24 years of experience in the luxury markets of Manhattan. She's sold over $2 billion in residential real estate and has been consistently ranked among the top 1% of agents nationally by the Wall Street Journal and Real Trends. As the founding chairperson of NYRAC, Heather's played a major role in elevating the professionalism, ethics, and advocacy of New York's residential brokerage community. Her leadership earned her a place on the Residential Board of Directors on the Real Estate Board of New York. But before her success in New York, Heather began her real estate career right here in South Florida. where she was an original member of the Gold Coast Master Brokers Forum, celebrating its 20th year this year. And she remains licensed here today, helping clients with properties from Palm Beach to Miami. Heather also provides advisory services to her clients in secondary markets, partnering with local agents, and is a member of the Compass Sports and Entertainment Division. Master Brokers, please welcome back Heather Domi. So joining Heather for this conversation will be Jason, who we heard from a moment ago, and our very own founding board member and Legacy Award recipient, Alicia Cervera La Madrid. A pillar of Miami real estate, Alicia is managing partner and principal of Cervera Real Estate and a founding member of the MBF. With 16 billion plus in career sales and a deep expertise in developer partnerships, she has helped shape the South Florida skyline. Alicia brings decades of leadership, local insight, and a proven track record of bridging real estate communities. So this is going to be a presentation led by Heather, with Jason and Alicia providing a little bit of color. So please welcome our panel.
Great. Thank you so much for that great introduction, and thank you all for being here. I see some old familiar faces, which is really, really great for me. It's an honor to be here, and when Alicia approached me to kind of do this New York-Miami exchange, I was really excited about it because honestly, I moved to New York in 2006 when the subprime mortgage crisis hit here. I was selling new development, so I went up there to sell new development, and I never left. But I always thought that there needed to be a stronger connection between New York and Miami, the real estate communities, because forever New Yorkers go back and forth to Miami, and now we know it is a lot of New Yorkers go back and forth. Miami is a very important market for our market. We need you to do well, and you need us to do well. And there's a lot of ways to work with agents in New York. I am still licensed here, but I refer out. I want my clients to have the best service and the best experience, and only a local agent can give them the knowledge that they need. I haven't sold a single family home in 19 years, so I wouldn't be able to handle an inspection. But anyway, so getting into this, we titled this Never Bet Against New York City because it's become a very popular slogan over the years when we've had all of our different crises. And so it is every single time New York has been knocked down, it has gotten back up stronger than ever. So this is another bump in the road, but I think good things are gonna come out of it for everyone, and there's opportunity for everyone. And let's get started. Next slide. Okay, so we know that Mondami is the #1 realtor in Miami. That's like, I've gotten plenty of memes about that. But I'd love to see in the room who has actually gotten a phone call from somebody in New York City. Okay, so there's like half a dozen to a dozen hands that have gone up. You know, it's early. I will say, like, listen, there is an impact. I can tell you, the night of the primary results when they came in, I had a $25 million deal out, and my buyer called me up and said, I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna invest with this mayor coming in. So things like that have happened, and everybody's got a different point of view, but you know, that's why we just work harder, and there's always another deal. But you know, there is opportunity. So many of your clients, I don't know if, has anybody said maybe it's a good time to buy in New York? Yes, right? So listen, so many people down here in Miami are sending their kids to New York for college and to start their lives. It is where young people want to be. And I know, you know, Miami, it's great. Miami has so many more jobs now for young people, so maybe not as much, but it's still, we still have a lot of Miami young adults starting their lives. So parents buying for kids is one of the most common transactions. Like, we see it all the time, that generational wealth transfer. So if you have clients with college-age kids, find out what their kids are doing. And then also the empty nesters are coming. They're coming from other cities to come and enjoy everything New York has to offer. Culture, restaurants, all that stuff. So next slide, please. Okay, so just to give a little perspective, the poll that sparked all of these headlines that 1 million people were gonna move to Miami, this company, JL Partners, surveyed 1,000 people on Staten Island, asking if they would move. And so, interesting, Staten Island is the one borough that has a high percentage of Republicans. 31%, that's pretty high for New York City. 39% Democrats, that's very low for New York City. In Manhattan, 70% Democrats. So it was already a somewhat biased question to a group of people, and 90 people said they would move out of the 1,000. And then what pollsters do is they take and they manipulate these numbers, and they come up with a formula, and they said, okay, it was something like 765,000 people were going to move based on this poll. And then all of a sudden it became 1 million. So that's where that came from. And it's created a lot of pandemonium. I was at the forum today, and it sounded like it was just gonna be crazy. Like, I mean, the way everybody was talking about it. So I think a lot's to be seen. And Alicia?
So I have to say, I was at the Economic Forum today, and a lot of New Yorkers were there. And a lot of them have already moved. But what they didn't say is, we're closing our companies. You know, Jamie Dimon didn't say, I'm shuttering up my building because all the New Yorkers are moving. You know, exactly. And Ken Griffin didn't say, I'm taking all my people and, you know, we're moving them all. But it is interesting, they had already moved. So I think that I'm not gonna tell you they were happy about the election, they're extremely concerned, but they're not betting against New York. So I needed to say that because I know it's been so hard felt. And since I have the mic, I'm also gonna say, City National, you guys are still here, I hope. Because today, in a moment of great pride for us, we had Jamie Dimon speaking, you know, JP Morgan Chase, blah, blah, blah. But who was interviewing him? George Gonzalez, our very own. And he did an incredible job. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful exchange. So kudos to him. He was phenomenal. So anyway, I think that while there's trepidation, these huge business minds are not packing up and moving their companies. They're there, they're vested, they're committed, and I think there's just real concern on how does this tide turn, and how does New York recover and come back from this bigger and better like we all want it to.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so we already kind of covered the media exaggeration. We can go to the next slide. And I explained this. So just also a little context, 420,000 people left New York after COVID. And a lot went to Texas, a lot came here. But I don't think this is gonna be COVID, but yes, people will still come. Next slide, please. So I have had some conversations in the last 2 days, yesterday and the day before, with an executive director of private wealth at JP Morgan, the Rockefeller Group Family Office, the head of that office, and also Citizens Private Bank. And this is pretty much very what New Yorkers are saying, right? Like nobody's panicking, nobody's making rushed moves. They're focusing on their planning and their diversification. They are cautious, but they are curious, and they want to see how it's going to play out. So the main reason, like, why a lot of people want to be in Florida is the lifestyle, the tax, and the regulatory factors. And that doesn't change, and that is always going to be attractive to New Yorkers who get tired of paying a lot of taxes. So, you know, the moves are going to be strategic and gradual. It's not going to be abrupt. And a lot of, as you know, a lot of people go back and forth. So there's going to be that dual presence. Next slide, please. And then just a little bit about what's going on in our market from a sales perspective. So inventory levels are slightly lower than they were last year. And we are in a restricted inventory environment. So you can see regular seasonality that goes up May, June, and then it starts coming down in July. If there was a big bump, people being worried after the primary, you would have seen more listings come on. So steady market and tight inventory. Next slide, please. And then in the last 2 months, if you just look at the fall season, so year over year, we sold just about $3.9 billion in the last 2 months and 1,689 transactions. That's about 3% higher than it was last year. So a healthy market still. I think what we'll see is that if you do start seeing more inventory, you'll see some prices come down and some good opportunities. Next slide, please. And the other elements of our market that support our market is our very low vacancy rate. We have the lowest in the country. 2/3 of luxury sales in Q3 were all cash. 50% of our sales are all cash. And we are in the top 3 luxury markets for above 10 million. Next slide, please. And just about 10,000 closings annually in Manhattan. That is what we had in 2024. It's a $20 billion a year market. Next slide, please. And we can go to the next. I kind of touched on this. So kind of the basic fundamentals. And I have to say, New York is an old city that's been established for a very long time. It's been a financial center for a very long time. So you can't compare our market with Miami. And I want to say our market because I was here for 13 years, so this place is near and dear.
So I think that's interesting, right? Because when we were in New York doing this, Heather very graciously looked at our presentation, and we're taking a different approach. We were doing kind of, these are the Miami stats and these are the New York's. And the New York stats are so enormous that our stats look like ridiculous. All this stuff that we're so proud of, we have so many companies, we have so many, and she's just going, she looked at me, she said, that would just be mean, Alicia. So I'm not gonna do that. I said, okay, don't do that, because it's such a powerful economy. I mean, any way you slice it. And as I look at this, and for anybody who knows me, you know that from the day one, I said, I do not want this guy to win. I do not want him to be our realtor. I want him to go away and take AOC with him and sail into hell, and we never want to see them again. So, I was like campaigning when I was up there, So that's how I feel about it. But having been through the Miami markets and how many cycles they are, I do think that we're going to see a lot of opportunity for people who have always wanted to have a place in New York, who have felt like New York got away from them. And I do think that you're going to have tremendous opportunity in New York because you're going to have areas where the prices are going to go down. And I think you're going to come out of it because you guys are just going to come out of it. And so I think there's going to be opportunities in both directions. But one of the things that we want to focus on today is how do we create those bridges? And when I was up in New York, I had a property registered. We've since, thank you, Michael, wherever you are, have another 3 properties registered, which you can offer up to your friends and colleagues in New York. And I think you're going to see more of that because there is a feeling in Miami that there are going to be a lot of New Yorkers. And I believe that's true, whether they come to Miami or go somewhere else. I also think that they may not sell their properties in New York. They may rent them to other New Yorkers. And what happened to us after 2008-9, when I had the poster child for the debacle, was like on the front page of the New York Times or something. I remember seeing that. Is that the city got cheaper, which meant young people moved in. And now they weren't driving for 4 hours, so they basically thought they had died and gone to Miami heaven. And once they moved here, and they were locals, by the way, which I think you may see some of that too, they weren't leaving. They just figured it out. And then it created this whole, rejuvenation and excitement in our downtown and our Brickell area. And out of that, I think, came some great stuff, some great energy, a whole new generation of buyers. It actually changed what our market looked like, because our rental market was really the shadow market in condos. And because those renters moved in and they said, we are never moving out, every time one of them came up for sale, they bought them. And so then it created this big construction of rental buildings. And so we have to figure out how to make the money flow. And you can talk to that, but that was one of the things that the businessmen in the room, all men still, yes, were very concerned about that. Because, when you have Jamie Dimon saying, we just can't lend, the numbers don't work, and you have Witkoff saying, if the numbers don't work, we can't build, and it just went on, Ken Griffin, all of these people, they kind of know what they're talking about. So how do you think you solve for that?
Well, for actually 2 points I want to raise to build on what you said. First, how do you sort of leverage, everyone's a real estate professional in the room, with your clients, what you might call the Mamdani trade, is that now is probably the best time to be buying in New York as an investor, because you get the benefit on both ends. One, you get the better price discovery, and second, you get the rental appreciation. If you buy the thesis that rents are going to continue going up because of a shortage of supply, vacancy is at 1.4% in the residential market right now, you can actually make the argument that now's the time to buy, invest, and rent out the unit, because you get the better price and then you get the higher rents going forward. And I actually just did that with a client downtown who was in from Los Angeles who did just that. That's point one. Point two, to your point about urban regeneration, I don't know if this is actually right out of Jane Jacobs' theory about urban planning, which you just referenced. So I don't know if anyone's read Death and Life of American Cities. If not, I would recommend the book. Which was written in the 1960s, but it's all about how cities are like organisms that will find ways to regenerate and grow, and that there's this sort of creative destruction that does happen. And if you're not paying attention, you miss it. Then all of a sudden, a new neighborhood becomes hot and emerges because artists move there, or younger people move there, and then the restaurants come and the nightlife comes.
Wynwood,
Yes, exactly. Wynwood's a perfect. Where was Wynwood like in 2012? Right? I mean, it's very different. So these are how cities. You have to think about cities as living organisms. And that's what that book's about.
So a lot of the rest of the presentation, which I think is probably best to send to you all, just talks about us being a global center and the culture and all these great things. I mean, you could go to the next slide. Next slide, please. So 4 million workers, 60 plus hospitals, 120 plus universities, and 25,000 startups. Next slide, please. The tech industry is valued at $147 billion in New York.
I mean, the numbers are staggering.
It is surreal.
Staggering. I mean, it's too big to fail. We're counting on that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think what Jason said about the rents, because the rental market has gone bonkers since COVID, it's unattainable, right? Every time I go to price a rental, I end up being wrong, because that rental market's moving so fast at such a higher pace that I have owners getting numbers that are just, I feel like I'm robbing somebody. So it's pretty crazy, but there is opportunity to buy, and I have 2 listings coming on. We're going to sell them with tenants in place. And that's gonna, we're in a market where that's attractive. We were not in a market where that was attractive for many years.
What started happening in Miami, that inventory was sitting there, we rented it up, the rents started going up, investors came in and scooped it up. It's exactly that.
Okay, so next slide, please. Lifestyle, culture. I mean, listen, I had a closing today, and this client was out with me on June 21st, the day of the primary. It was 104 degrees in New York, and they were gonna leave for a vacation.
Tuesday in Miami.
Yeah, nice Tuesday in Miami. And see, we saw 7 properties. He says, okay, I want to put some offers in. I think I want to do 3. I'm going to write to you from the plane. I'll send you the offers, and we'll see where this all flushes out. That night, Madami wins. I didn't hear from them on their vacation. So he let it settle a little bit. They came back, and we hit the pavement back in August, and they just closed today. And, he was asking, because I called him and congratulated him, and I wasn't there, so he was asking what I was doing. He's like, we're the perfect example. We're a great case study. We're moving from Westchester, we're empty nesters, and these neighborhoods in New York have so much life and so much vibe to just offer and take in, and that's why we're back. So it is pretty interesting, especially to see young couple, not young, but I mean my age really, but people who have empty nesters that maybe had kids a little bit younger and they want to really experience New York because they didn't get to live their life. They maybe had kids young. We're going to see a lot of that because of the culture, because of the restaurants and everything else, the shopping. Next slide, please. So this is kind of the map of the neighborhoods and just the fact that how distinct and unique every single neighborhood in New York is. Next slide, please. We have over 70 Michelin star restaurants. We have over... Only 70? Only 70. We have about 23,000 restaurants. So, I mean, you can turn the corner and eat at a different place every single day and still not put a dent in it. Next slide, please. And so, just winding this down, the global demand, the diversity of the housing stock. One thing that's interesting about the housing stock, co-op, condo, townhouses, you've probably heard about co-ops. When Lehman Brothers crashed and everybody was doing short sales, bankruptcies, all of that, we had a foreclosure rate that was still below 1 or 2% because of the co-ops. The co-ops require sometimes 100% cash, 50% cash, most of them, and then, when you get to the fringes and stuff, they start loosening up their restrictions. But when you have that much equity, you're not having the foreclosures, and that's what's held our market up. So as much of a pain in the ass these co-ops are, they have maintained the stability of the housing market in New York, and that's not going anywhere. We're like 70% co-op. Even though we have lots of new condos being built all the time, it's 70% co-op. So that's not going to change. Next slide, please. Our resiliency, our rental market, all these things we've talked about. Next slide, please. And then never bet against New York. We've always come back stronger. So, we thank you for being here, and I have to share that what it takes to build referral partners in another market is really putting yourself out there and making the relationships. I've done a lot of that over the years, and I have different agents and partners that I like to refer to. Miami is so spread out. I have 4 or 5 different agents that I love working with down here because they cover different areas, and also you've got different personalities and different people, and somebody might be right for one and not another. So knowing those people in those markets, in the secondary markets where your clients are going, Aspen, you have a lot of people from here going to Aspen, Vail, where they're Tennessee and the Carolinas, you have people going to. So, making those relationships and efforts, if you're with a firm that has affiliates in other markets, if not, tap into things like Master Brokers Forum, and you just maintain the relationship. And the last 2.5 years, I've really focused on that, and about 40% of my business is referrals from agents coming in and going out.
So great, and you're so collaborative, because Heather and I have stayed in touch, because every time I go to New York, and she was doing condo sales for a long time, she would just open the doors and greet me and give me the information. So I'm going to put out an ask to everybody here. Let's try something different. I would give it 2 weeks to settle, but in 2 weeks, when things have settled, send an e-blast to your entire database. Are you thinking about New York? Have you ever wanted to have a place in New York? Wouldn't it be interesting to explore New York now? Because the worst thing that could happen is crickets. If you get a no, that's really a maybe, because they're answering you. And if you get a yes, you're off to the races. So I would really ask you guys, just take a minute and do that, because why not? And then I know there's people from New York here, and I'm sorry, but I was in the back. Who's here from New York? Okay, stand up, hello. Stand up, have everybody take a look at you. So here are your New York partners. They've come all the way here. And how many people in this room have been to New York in the last year? Raise your hand. Wow. Okay, this is it. We go all the time. So
Come visit. I mean, anytime. Come to our office, go to your affiliate offices, stop in, have coffees. It's all about the relationships that you build, and not just a relationship, but really a friendship. That's very, very valuable, and it allows you to expand your business beyond what you're doing here. You don't want your clients going and buying somewhere without them talking to you.
totally. So when you put that ask out and say, hey, because we have to work from a place of honesty, then a week later, you send that same message to all of the NYRAC members, because I think we can get that list, and say, I just reached out to my entire database and asked them if they were interested in New York. Do you have a property or two that you would like me to feature that maybe I can follow up with? And by the way, if you have anyone that's thinking about Miami, call me, and would you like to feature some of my properties? Let's do this. There's a unique opportunity here. It's rare when two independent organizations, because how many different real estate companies are represented here? I don't know, but maybe Jason or Ileana or somebody knows, but a lot. And NYRAC is the same thing. So this is not company-centric. This is industry-centric. This is an opportunity for all of us here to try something different and make some money, and I think we will. But remember, it's always good to give before you ask for a get. So if you put it out there and then you reach out, I think some magic can happen.
Great. Any questions? Any questions? No? Yeah.
You mentioned something about inventory.
Stand up so we can hear you louder.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
You mentioned something about inventory supply restriction in New York. Can you elaborate on what you meant by that?
Sure. Yes, we are at all-time lows as far as our inventory. So I have a stable of buyers I cannot find stuff for. And when you have submarkets within submarkets within submarkets, which is what we have, right? Because every neighborhood has every single range of price points, so it niches down. You don't have much options when you have that buyer. So it's hard. You have to try and find and create opportunities looking at listings that expired. It is hard to make deals when you don't have inventory. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I thought when you said restrictions, I thought like
Oh, restriction.
Well, there is.
Yeah.
Well, so the one restriction that's a real problem in the city right now is a tax program called the 485X, which basically limits new construction to 99 units per building. And when they go over 99 units, there's additional fees and expenses that the developers have to pay. So over the last year, if you look at New York at all the projects that have rolled out, magically, amazingly, they're all at 99 units, so they're under the cap. And the problem with that is it was done, there was an old tax program called 421A, which phased out, and this was the compromise solution that came about last year. The problem is when you're in a tight supply market and you're trying to create more housing, this actually does the opposite because there's opportunity cost on all of those sites. You know, in New York, you can build 300-400 unit buildings, no problem. But now those units that would have been, those buildings that would have been 400 units are now 99. So now you're creating a further future deficit in your housing stock. And so one of the things we're trying to work on in this legislative session come January in Albany, which will be 4 degrees, by the way, so thank you. But we're trying to change the policy to remove the cap at 99 units because it's working counter to our goals in the city.
I have a question. In the last 10 years, out of the new developments that have been built, what percentage are co-ops versus condos?
Well,
They're all condos unless it's on a land lease property, which we've only seen maybe a couple of those. And then it's a condop. So you own shares in a corporation like a co-op, but it's condo rules. So no new development would be co-op, be conduct.
All right, those 99-unit buildings, are they building much larger units? Or if they can build 300 of the same site, and now they're only building 99, are they massive units?
No, the height is, they're not going fully up. Yeah, in most cases. And
Can they sell the air rights to somebody else?
no, the problem is you'd have to, selling the air rights to another site has to be within the local community board, and it's complicated to do so. It's potentially, though, yes. There was just a zoning reform called the City of Yes, which made it a little easier to do some of that work. Back.
Just curious, is Jersey City a new booming
Yeah.
new borough of New York?
Yes. Yeah. Jersey City is booming, and so is Hoboken. So when all the hipsters went out to Williamsburg and made Brooklyn is more expensive than buying on a lot of the Upper East Side now. So if you saw the Wall Street Journal article a couple weeks ago where the Upper East Side is now cool again, that's why, because people were paying more money to live in Brooklyn, having to commute, bridge and tunnel, and it's just, so they're going to the Upper East Side. Now, Jersey City, all the young professionals who would have maybe gone to Williamsburg but are priced out of there started going to Jersey City, and developers started going and developing there as well. So we're starting to see a lot more projects, and it's becoming a kind of its own little hip place to live.
And by the way, one of the reasons for that is the mass transit hub in New York. If a lot of you have been there, you know that the subway and train system is very extensive. It's something that I hope that Miami does in the future as they think of ways to move more and more people that are going to be coming here much more efficiently than are currently it's set up.
Yeah. To that end, I don't know about the rest of you, but I was so worried about the New York election that I forgot we had an election in Miami. I completely forgot. I mean, completely forgot. Yeah, totally. I totally forgot. So we do have an election in Miami. We have a runoff, two very, very different candidates. What day is the runoff? Does anybody know? Okay. Tuesday, December 9th. So it's, okay, somebody correct me here, it's City of Miami, right? Which means Brickell, Coconut Grove. If you don't have your own mayor in your own city, and unless it's unincorporated Dade, they don't vote. So City of Miami, we need to focus. We do not, no offense, want to be New York 2.0. And the candidates are very different. So we need to focus on this. And I honestly forgot. So don't anybody tell me I don't love New York.
Anyone else? All right, cool.
What a fantastic evening. And when you have a beautiful night like this, there's about 1 billion people to thank, so brace yourself. Thank you, Heather, Jason, Alicia, for that incredible, insightful discussion. Thank you to everybody from NYRAC who made the trip from New York, everyone, sponsors, members. We really do appreciate you schlepping all this way. Michael, we really appreciate you keeping us out of trouble. Thank you so much for your brilliance and time and expertise, and especially our friends from City National Bank in the back corner there. Guys, we love you guys. We are so grateful for your partnership and everything that makes it possible. Please make sure you do 2 things. You take home your special gift from City National in that back corner in the beautiful black bags. And now, stay for dinner. They're going to open up the patio. And maybe we can let our friends from New York get in the buffet line first. That would be a real nice gesture. Master Brokers, thank you. Have a great night.
It's free, so, you know.